I am Kenny Yancey, one of the co-organizers and founders for Men in Suits, along with here my brother, Donnie Young. We certainly appreciate all of your help and your support for this event. Amen. What inspired this is because we want to see change. We want to see change. We want to rewrite the narrative. I've been sharing that all week long. Rewriting the narrative. We want them to see something different amongst the black community. I want them to know that there's more to us, right? There's more to us, right?
Yes, sir. I don't see no animals.
Okay. You said you don't see no animals. I don't see no animals, right? And we look darn good, right?
Yes, sir.
Y'all look real darn good today. I had to say darn because my pastor out here. But a couple pastors out here. So I'll say, but y'all know what I wanted to say. But yeah, we look real good today. So I wanted it to be seen, right? I wanted all the news to capture this. There's so much other stuff that they capture, but I want them to capture this. Let them see us coming together as a united front. Let them know that we're going to stand together. We're going to band together to make change happen. Amen? Right?
That's right.
Amen. That's what we want. We want change. And I've taken the obligation upon myself. I realized that it was my right and my duty to make sure that that change takes place. And so from this moment forward, I have made it my personal decision that the demands that you guys will hear about later is my decision that I'm going to make sure that those demands are carried out. So as a liaison amongst the millennials and amongst the city, yeah, we're going to make sure that this stuff happens. All right? But we're going to get this show on the road. The first person I'm going to ask to come up is actually Eddie Cohen. All right, and he'll introduce himself. And tell you what he would like to share.
Say her name. 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 The first time that I experienced police brutality, I was 10 years old on the south side of Chicago. 10 years old on the south side of Chicago was the first time that I experienced police violence. Okay? What you see before you right now is mobilizing, is empowering, is activism. Now we vote every year, but when we mobilize, we are telling the world what kind of community we want to build, and which we appreciate. I have a son, 22 years old, who's protesting right now in Huntsville, Alabama. I had a conversation with him. I said, son, it's hard to be black, isn't it? He said, no, Dad, it's hard dealing with white supremacy. I love being black.
That's right.
I'm a new guy to this city, to Cincinnati.
Well,
They said Cincinnati is hard for you for a black man. No, Cincinnati is hard because it has a racist problem. You know what it's like to be black? You know what it's like to be black? It's like to be black. It's watching the verses on Instagram, Jill Scott versus Erykah Badu. You know what I'm saying? It's quarantine. You hear me? And then it's the next day, watching someone who could be your uncle, your cousin, being murdered by the police.
Right.
And deciding how do you reconcile that? How do you reconcile that? Do you stay silent? Do you talk about it all day? Do you sit and wait and hear the same diatribes about black on black crime? Nothing to do with police sanctioned violence. Nothing to do with it. What do we do with it? Right? Right? Say her name. Say her name. Say her name. Say her name. Listen. Sick and tired of task force. Sick and tired of committees. We will no longer be guests at the table of liberation. Do you hear me?
That's right.
We will no longer be guests at the table of liberation. Right? Now I know that economics won't stop racism, but it sure as the hell can be a catalyst, right? Goodell Roger did not wake up with an epiphany that he cares about black people all of a sudden.
Preach!
Right? He had economic pressure.
Right?
So I'm going to ask for something from everyone in here. Take out your cell phones right quick. Take out your cell phones. What the Urban League is going to call for is 52 weeks of supporting black businesses. I need you to take out your cell phones and text us the phrase, "Buy Black." to 797979. That's one word. Buy black to 797979. Starting at Juneteenth, I will repeat that again. Text buy black as one word to 797979. Starting at Juneteenth, we will support one black business a day. Our collective power is unstoppable. It is unstoppable. Black people are beautiful and powerful and rich in culture. The brightest minds on the planet. So here's what we're gonna do. On Juneteenth, again, text that number, buy black, 797979. You'll hear from the Urban League. You'll hear from our partners at NAACP so we can coordinate a campaign. All right? And I'm gonna get off the mic and shut up. So one more time, say her name. Say her name. Say her name. Thank you. Here we go.
Black lives what? Black lives what? Black lives what? Lives what? Black lives matter. We are here because of you. Each and every one of you. Eddie asked you to take out your cell. Keep out your cell phone. Keep them out. We would not be here if it was not for our cell phone. Capturing what we saw. We saw what happened. Don't let anyone tell you what you saw did not happen. We saw what happened. Each and every one of us have a responsibility. It's not just talking. I've been on many task force, many inside many rooms. It's time for when you make it into the room, we all to the room. No more just being satisfied with you're the only one in the room. When you get in the room, use your voice. If you're not going to voice, do not sit at the table. Time out for playing. Time out to make a difference. And you hold the power to make a difference. There's many young people here. I want my nephew to come stand beside me. He could have been Trayvon Martin. He could have been George Floyd. What does he want to be when he grows up? Alive. He wants to be alive. He could have been Christian in the park, asking someone to abide by the rules. And this person decided that they were going to take it upon themselves to say that her and her dog's life was being threatened. No more. We need everybody to stand with us. If you're not standing with us,
You're against us.
stand with us. Film Commission. The Cincinnati Film Commission. That's why I want you to keep out your effort. As a board member for the regional organization Film Cincinnati, promote and cultivate film video production and opportunities created here. I am proud to share. Cincinnati.
Just.
I am proud to share. Film Cincinnati will always play a role in culture as a vehicle to tell great stories, to document history, and to ignite the imagination. The power of film has never been more at the forefront than it is today. Film Cincinnati is at the forefront. Film Cincinnati, we mourn the tragic killings of unarmed African American men, many of which was caught on film. Seeing is believing. And we encourage you to document your experiences, create change, and inspire through your lens. Film Cincinnati stands united for change. Film Cincinnati is with you. Continue to use your cell phones for good. Don't just be active and engage and capture the wrong for the world to see. Thank you. My name is Deasa Nichols.
May I have your attention, please? Listen, my name is The Iris Rowley, and I just got 3 things to say to you today. If you carry one of these signs, I made it. But I want you to know that I made these years ago, because Black lives been mattering. And just start, they've been mattering. So these signs have made it through Sam DuBose protests, support for Judge Tracy Hunter, and we're still using them to. The next thing I want to say to you all is that for the past 20 years, myself and other people, 20 years ago, we sued the city, the FOP, and the police for racial profiling and police brutality. We changed as much policy as we could. I need you, love. So I want you to join these new people that I'm about to call out, because they're going to need some help. We have the only federal agreements like it in the country. Nobody else has it. You know why? Because Black people did it. We were gangster about our shit, and we care about our people. Pardon my African language, but sometimes we gotta be uncomfortable with being comfortable in our skin. So, as I've been saying for the last 2 weeks, organized, I am the leaders of the free world. Are you here? I am looking for the leaders of the free world. Are you here? We all at Black people. Come on now, don't make me get my Frederick Douglass look on y'all and look down my nose at you. I'm in the street. I have 3 sons, 5 grandchildren, and a beautiful, strong-ass Black man. Universe willing to be 26 years of Black love next month. That's why I get to be indignant about my people. That's why I can speak truth to power about my people. And if there are any, they will tell you, well, opportunity kick your ass when it comes to people. I need the leaders of the free world to join me. Are you with me? Are the leaders of the free world here? Are the leaders of the free world here? Now, typically, what African ancestry does when we giving the word, this ain't spoken word, I to hear the word. But when we give the word, we typically have music behind us. And since we've been so traumatized by systems that don't support us, leaders of the free world, while y'all back there, I need you right here, please. Because I'm going to need for people to sign up with these young folk who said, Mama Iris, what you got? Because they want to take it for another 100 years. And when I say it ain't perfect, it is much better than where we were in 2001. So when you stand on our sacrifice, do some work. Don't just talk about it. Be about it. This ain't no sprint, this a marathon. I told y'all it's been 20 years. I ain't missed a meeting yet. Am I lying, Joe? Y'all better know what it is to get some system change. Talk to your wise elders in your community. Don't miss the opportunity to learn and grow. I need music. I need some music with me. Sing, baby, sing. So if you really want to get down, here are the 2 leaders of the free world. See them. Sign up. If you want to take it, you want to take this reform, make it transformation, accountability, so that your friends, your sons, your daughters, and your wives, because we tired of bearing our babies. Sing, mama. We are the army of love. We are the army of love. Come on, y'all. We are the army of love. We are the army of love. We're living in a world full of fight. We gotta learn to fight the good fight. We gotta learn to try new things, take one step at a time. Keep up, staying in line. We gotta fight the good fight. We gotta learn to fight the good fight. Yeah. Oh, we, oh, yo. Oh, we, oh, yo. Oh, we, oh. Keep it going. Yo. We are the army of love. We are the army of love. We are the army of love. Yo. Fight the good fight, y'all. All right, leaders of the free world, here are your 3 sign-ups. You got 3 people here. If you want, if you got a spine, if you got some time, if you don't mind stepping up for your people, sign up. All right, thank you.
I know it's hot out here, everybody. My name is Joe Mallory. I'm the first vice president of the local branch of the Cincinnati NAACP. We need you. We need to get some more soldiers for justice. And we need some freedom fighters to join this fight. It's okay to be out here expressing ourselves and protesting, but we got to do the work. Because once the protest is over, that's when the work begins. When nobody's watching, the cameras aren't there, you're in these rooms getting the work done. Because we have to change policy. We have to create policy. And sometimes we have to change the policy makers. So you have to make sure that you're a registered voter. That's how you change policy and change policy makers. While we were out here protesting and trying to survive a pandemic, the state legislature was trying to take our voting rights away. Many people don't know about that. They try to take away souls to the polls. They try to eliminate the last 3 days of in-person voting. While we were protesting, they were trying to change the laws. But we had some people paying attention. I went up there to testify before the committee. We had people email and make phone calls, and it made a difference. They got so much pressure, they said, we're gonna put that back in. But I don't think that's a victory, that they're giving us something we already had. We need more voting rights, not less. We need more access, not less. I was watching things over the internet, seeing everybody's pain. There's a lot of pain, but we gotta turn that pain into purpose and power. I want you to Google this guy. His name is Mike McClure Jr. If you haven't seen his speech, you need to subpoena the conscience of America. He said, when you kill our fathers, you take our history. When you kill our sons, you kill our future. They've been doing that over 400 years. Sam Cooke said, when he wrote his song over 50 years ago, change is gonna come. Change has to be now. Change has to be now. We have to prove to everybody that this is not a moment, that this is a movement. The change has to be now. So we need people to get off the sidelines. We need you to be in the game. Because democracy is not a spectator sport. You gotta get dirty sometimes. You gotta get engaged. You gotta hold the people that you vote, you gotta hold them accountable. Because many times you vote, you think that that's all that you got to do. You got to stay engaged in the process. That's only one tool in the toolbox. We have to stay vigilant. We have to stay vocal. We need our white allies to stand up and demand that change too. Because we didn't get out of slavery all by ourselves. We need our white allies to be more vocal and more visible. We need to demand this change. Change must be now. Let's make sure that this is a movement and not a moment. Thank you.
Can you see him, King? Yeah.
Good afternoon. I'm Wendy Cross. 100 degrees Celsius. That's the space we're in. 100 degrees Celsius. That's the temperature of boiling water. And today we boil.
Yes.
As of May 25th, when George Floyd took his last breath, this country and the world began to boil. We boil against injustice. We boil against unfairness. We boil against racism. Black men, you do not suffer alone. You do not walk alone. You do not fight alone. For we are with you. We love you. And we will go forward with you. I am Wendy Cross, and I stand for justice. Now, justice is not just a word. It's not just a cliche or a cute hashtag. Justice is the right of all human beings. Justice is the God-given right of all of God's people. Justice is the expectation of every person who lives in the free world. And justice is what Black people demand now. Now, justice will dismantle racism. And what we have to do is we have to band together and we have to vote. We have to come together and put competent people that look like you and I in office, in the boardroom, on the county commissioner, in the prosecutor's office, in the classroom, in the pulpit, and on the bench. Now, I'm not talking about people who profess justice. I'm talking about people who live the experience of Black and brown people every day. I am Wendy Cross, and I stand for justice. Now, it is very interesting and very proper that we are standing in front of this courthouse, the Common Pleas Court. It's the very place that civil rights issues are being litigated. And we have to make sure that people who understand us and our experience are in that courthouse making decisions for Black and brown people. It's important. Why? Because as a former civil rights lawyer, I know that civil rights litigators all over the country are taking the fight to the local level, not the federal level, because of the administration. They're taking it to the local level. That's why voting on the local level is so important, so that we can make changes to the system from within. So you may say, well, Wendy, you are a federal prosecutor. How can you say that? Well, it's true. I was. But being for justice and against racism means being for what is right, being for what is fair, and being for what is just. And you need those type people in every area of the system. I am Wendy Cross, and I stand for justice. We have to go to the ballot box. Today, we have been heard, we've been seen. But let us be heard by the United States, by the world. Let us be heard at the ballot box. Let us vote. I am Wendy Cross.
What if that doesn't work anymore? What if that doesn't work anymore? What if that
It is.
doesn't work anymore?
It works, and let me tell you, I understand your sister, your frustration, sister. I understand. But what is this going to take? This movement, it's going to take the wisdom of the older generation and the energy of the younger generation. Together, we can do this. I am proud of this community. This community. And I stand in solidarity. My name is Wendy Cross. I stand for justice, and justice is on the ballot in November. Thank you.
My brothers and my sisters, no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. My name is Charles King Jr. I just happen to be the pastor of a local church here, the First Baptist Church of West College Hill. But when people ask me who I am, if I told you Charles King, I would have told you my name. If I said I was a pastor, that just tells you what my office is. If I told you where I pastor at, that just tells you the location. But if you ask me who I am, I'm going to tell you I'm a black man. If you ask me who I am, I'm going to tell you I'm a son. If you ask me who I am, I'm going to tell you I'm a father. My son is here. My daughter couldn't be here. She is an essential worker at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. If you ask me who I am, I'm a husband. And I am here, not in any particular capacity, except as a black man. And I stand here with each and every one of you, standing in peaceful protest, denouncing segregation, denouncing this hypocrisy that we are talking about, denouncing all of this biases towards African Americans. But we must understand that it wasn't that long ago when I borrowed the words of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He said, we must recognize that we can't solve our problems now. Until there is a radical redistribution of economic and political power. He also said that when people get caught up in that which is right and they are willing to sacrifice for it, there is no stopping point short of victory. But recognize that was a half century ago. So when people ask you, when people ask me, how long is all of this protesting going to go on? I mean, you've been marching and you've been protesting for 12 days. I say 12 days? Listen, we are still waiting for the redistribution of economics for over a half century. You want to know how long we've been marching? 12 days? Listen, we've been at this for over 400 years. As a matter of fact, 401 years. Listen, if you want to know about us, know our history. We didn't migrate here. We were brought here. Listen, and it was over 400 years ago. Our feet landed in Point County, Virginia. And you got to understand that we didn't want to come here, but we were brought here in chains. So when people ask, well then what do you want? And we say, we want justice. We say we want it now. And we want justice for our brother George Floyd, who presumably put a counterfeit $20 bill at a grocery store. Now I say presumably and allegedly because we are still in America, right? So we're supposed to be innocent until we're proven guilty, except if you're black. And you need to understand that it does not mean that 4 men can become this brother's judge, jury, and executioner. So what do we want? We don't just want them to be arrested. We want them to be tried. We want them to be convicted. We want them to be sentenced under the maximum penalty of the law. What do we want? We want justice.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
We want justice for Ahmaud Arbery, who was jogging in a Southern Georgia community on a Sunday afternoon, hunted and gunned down. 3 men, judge, jury, and executioner. What do we want? We want justice. We want them to be tried, convicted, and sentenced under the maximum penalty of the law. What do we want?
Justice!
What do we want?
Justice!
We want justice for our sister Breonna Taylor. In our sanctity of our own home. If my research is correct, yesterday, if they had allowed her to live, would have been her 27th birthday on June the 5th. But it was a warrant looking for somebody, and it was the wrong house. She is sleeping in her bed, shot multiple times, 6 to 8 times per the research. They found no drugs. And can I tell you that the person they were looking for was miles away and already in custody before they got to her house? You want to know what we want? We want justice, and we want it now. Now listen, it's already been said to our white brothers, our white sisters, our Latino, our Mexican, our Hispanic, whatever the case may be. And we appreciate you all standing with us. We're grateful for that. We need you all as allies. But you got to understand, this is not a photo op. This is not about the moment. So if you don't want to be in for the long haul, a part of the movement, take your pictures now and get out the way. We got work to do. But please understand that we also are here protesting peacefully. But we are here protesting peacefully against those who call good evil and evil good. So we don't stand with those who are rioting. No ma'am, no sir. But we can understand the anger. And sometimes anger, frustration will manifest itself in ways that don't look so pretty. You also need to understand that anger actually is one of the stages of grief. We have been grieving for a long time. We have been grieving for well over a half century since Dr. King. We have been grieving for over 400 years. So you best believe and understand, grieving is after denial. America has been in denial for too long. America has been in denial since the beginning. And we want you all to know that we are angry right now. But let me leave you with these words from Dr. King. So when you look around at these brothers in suits, sisters in heels, and whatever it is, we understand that no matter how you dress us up, all you still see is black. All you still see is the color of our skin. And so sometimes even before we are able to be tried in the courthouse, we have already been convicted because of the color of our skin. But listen to all of my brothers and sisters. I know we want to be angry, but Dr. King said, listen, history has taught it's not enough for people to be angry. The supreme task is to organize and unite people so that the anger becomes a transforming force. What you see out here is a transforming force. So listen, when we say no justice, no peace, understand that's N-O justice, N-O peace. But there is a no justice, no peace. That's K-N-O-W justice, K-N-O-W peace. America, we know that you know justice and you know peace, and we are going to hold you accountable. So when we say no justice, no peace from the depths in our soul, we're saying it because we're saying no justice, no peace, but no justice and no peace. Everybody put your fist in the air. Listen, if you ain't putting your fist in the air, you ain't with me. Put your fist in the air. Say it with me. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No peace. God bless you.
We gonna make this real quick, and we done had the sermon. We done had some action steps. My name's Alicia Reese, and I'm not here as a candidate for county commissioner. I'm not here as the president, former president of the Black Caucus of Ohio and the vice chair. I'm not here as a graduate of Grambling State University, where we took on the KKK Grand Wizard David Duke and stopped him. I'm here as Auntie Alicia because I got 2 nephews and I got nieces, and they scared right now. This is the almost 1 year anniversary on Father's Day that my nephew was down in Florida, went to go get his hair cut with his father. They bust into the barber shop. My nephew was a yes ma'am, no sir, never been in trouble, only 12 years old. He was told to get down, didn't know what to do. He has asthma. My brother pleaded, please, this is my son. They said, we don't care. They had the infrared dot on him, and he said he saw my son with the infrared dot on his head. And my nephew, he said, please, just black out, because I can't afford for you to have an asthma attack, and they shoot you. After being held almost 1 hour, they let everybody go, and they said they found absolutely nothing. And he was expected to just go on with life. Go on and forget about it. Black it out and forget about it. So I'm here today because Black Lives Matter not just in Cincinnati. Black Lives Matter not just in Hamilton County. Black Lives Matter not just in Ohio. Black Lives Matter worldwide, and people are marching all over this world for Black Lives Matter. I want the organizers to step forward real quick with me. Kenny and my cousin Donnie. Lakia. Where's my sister? Javon. They organized this. They put a call out, said men and Susie, y'all know it's hot. I'm over here overheated. And I want to thank them because this ain't the first time. We brought together Black Men Vote. We marched from Washington Park all the way to the ballot box. But I'm here to tell you that the ballot box, if you're going to take on the system, you got to hit it at every level. You can't just elect one and go home and get comfortable. If you really want justice, you've got to go from the courthouse to the White House, to the county house, to the schoolhouse, so we can get some resources and some justice down to your house. Now what happens is we make one attempt to vote, but when we go for a football team or a basketball team and our team lose, we say we're gonna get up, we're gonna recruit some new people, and we coming back next year for a championship. Now we can come back in football and basketball and baseball. That does not mean justice. You can get up every day and say, I'm gonna keep fighting to get that knee off my neck. The knee is on the neck, and I want to thank Reverend Al Sharpton and the National Action Network. We'll be marching at the March on Washington August 28th. We ask for you to join us. But I want you to get your phones out. We got supporting Black businesses. I come from a Black business, so I know about that. But the other thing we got to do is vote. Now, many of you standing out here that voted for Obama, you ain't registered no more. They done took you off the rolls. It's called purge. So you got to check and see, are you still registered? Because they hoping you show up on election day and you ain't got no registration card. If you have not registered, you living at home, you registered at mama house, and no, you ain't been living at mama house. You got to change your address because the guy in the White House said he gonna challenge every election ballot for any technicalities, and he throwing it out. This is a time for us to put up or shut up. We got to deliver. Not just the White House. want to take on the system. And the reason it's called a system, because it just don't last 2 years. It just don't last 4 years. It lasts a lifetime. So we got to be committed to this for a lifetime. So I want to thank our brothers and sisters that stood up. I want to thank all the ones who've been organizing peaceful protests all over this world. And I say to the elected officials, no more giving us processes. Every time we show up, it's a process. No more we got to study it and we need a commission. We got all the commissions. I'm calling this your next county commissioner to get all the reports and start putting them in action in the next 60 days after being elected. People want action. We've got the data. Now it's time for some action. So I'm here today to tell y'all, go to iwillvote.com. Some of y'all from Ohio, some of you not. And make sure you're registered to vote. Because we're going to protest and we're going to activate. And we're going to stop it from the top all the way down to the bottom. Because justice is a worldwide issue. And the world is watching. So my name is Alicia Reese. I'm running for county commissioner. If you're not, we got Delta Sigma Theta out here. They've got the voter registration. Who else? We got Zeta Phi Beta. We got everybody. Sign these papers. NAACP. I don't care who you are. Get your phone out. Don't talk about a smartphone when you're doing everything dumb. Let's use the smartphone for justice. Thank you. God bless you. Alicia Reese.
And just before we go to our next presenter, they did want to make sure I let y'all know that they are towing cars. So if you are one of those that parked illegally, we will not organize a march to get your car back. But make sure that you take care of your vehicle. All right. Davis parking lot, that's where they're towing cars at. If you're not Davis and you're not supposed to be in his parking lot, you might want to go see about your Honda.
No justice. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. My name is Fanon Rucker. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has, and it never will.
Let's go, Fanon.
My name is Fanon Rucker. I'm a lawyer with the Cochran firm. When I was asked to speak this afternoon, I struggled about what it is that I would say. I thought about the fact that I'm from Gary, Indiana, and I grew up in a black city in the 70s and the 80s. I thought about I'm a child of hip hop. And do I look at it from that perspective? I went to a black college. I went to Hampton University. Do I look at it from my college experience? I've been practicing law since I was 24 years old. It's ironic we stand in front of the courthouse talking about justice. So do I talk about it from that perspective? Do I talk about it having been a prosecutor? Do I talk about it having been a civil rights lawyer? Do I talk about it having been a judge? Do I talk about it as a father? Do I talk about it? Then I realize I don't need to separate my thoughts because I have all of those experiences. And that's what the statement is today about all of us out here in these suits. We got lawyers out here. We got doctors out here. We have brothers and sisters who work for the post office. We have folks who are line officers at UC. We have folks who are professors. We have folks who own businesses. We have folks who are in college. We got folks who never finished high school. And we all have the same shared experience. We all have the same shared voice. That injustice is simply not tolerable in 2020. How do we achieve justice? But better yet, how did we get to this point? In 1857, the United States Supreme Court, which was the most enlightened group of judges and justices and legal trained folks in our world, declared that there is no right that any black man has that any white person is bound to respect. That was the first time in writing that a court demeaned and unvalued a whole race of people. The Supreme Court has never denounced that decision. In 1957, that same court made the decision that we, as black children, have to sit next to whites in order not to feel inferior. That's a diminution in value of our lives. The collective anger that we see across our world, with that police officer grinning in the camera as he had his hand in his pocket, as he was breathing the breath out of George Floyd's life, is not about equal rights. It's not about equal treatment. It's the anger and a lack of equal value.
Yes.
The civil rights movement taught us to demand equal rights. What they should have been demanding is that they recognize we have equal value. I don't have to be told that I'm going to be treated the same. The law that I practice is the same law that the other lawyers practice. My black robe was the same black robe that the other judges practice. My gavel that I use to make decisions on cases was the same exact gavel that all the other judges. But somehow, I was a black judge. Somehow, I'm a black lawyer. I will not accept anything less than equal value. And none of us should either. When all these folks are marching and they don't look like us, and they're claiming that Black Lives Matter, black lives have equal value. Black lives have equal value. We will not receive justice until that's recognized by every single public official, every single individual in a business, every single person who preaches the gospel, every single, and it's not just them, it's us. We have to accept that we have equal value. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
Let me give you 3 quick points and I'm going to shout our way to our seats. How do we demand equal value? How do we stop what we continue to see? I'm not talking nothing about running today. I'm not here as a candidate. I'm here as all them other things. But what I will tell you is that what we have to do is demand of those who are in elected office, demand those who are in policy decision positions, that they recognize that we have equal value. Demand that of each one of them. And if there's somebody who's running for office, I don't care what they look like, I don't care what their position, I don't care what their background, you make sure they acknowledge, not just by their words, but by their history and their actions, that black lives have equal value. Yes. And the last thing, if you aren't comfortable demanding of those who are in those positions, or if they don't listen, or if you're not comfortable with the candidates who are running, making that declaration and that acknowledgement, or by their history does not support the idea that that's what they actually believe, then you become the leader that you want to have lead you. You pick up and you find the voice to say, I am. You go and find your circle and demand it. You become leaders, each one of you. It's possible. Trust me, I know.
Go ahead.
My name is Fanon Rucker. I'm a lawyer with the Cotton Firm, and my life has equal value. Thank you.
Say her name. Say her name. All you gotta do, let her know. Say her name. Say her name. Say her name. Say her name. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Sam DuBose. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. I didn't come to talk to you long. I want to make one thing clear. What's before the city of Cincinnati is a motion by Councilmember and Vice Mayor Christopher Smitherman and Councilmember Jan Michelle Limit-Kearney, who is also here in support. And I'm going to sign it myself. What we're going to ask for is that the prosecutor drop all charges against every peaceful demonstrator in the city of Cincinnati. Thank you. Now you've heard a lot of talk. Now it's time to get your ass down to City Hall and demand that all 9 council members vote to drop all charges against every demonstrator whose only charge was breaking curfew. The only charge was breaking curfew. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Black lives. Black lives.
Black lives. Black lives. Black lives. All black lives matter. I'm James Johnson, and earlier today I was asked, James, how are you feeling? And so, you know, that's a normal question that we ask, you know, when we're greeting one another. And I had to think about that. And I'm glad that Jeff Pastors made that announcement, because I was one of those young protesters that got locked up for just demonstrating how unjust this country is. And so when I say Black Lives Matter, I mean all Black Lives Matter. I mean Black Lives Matter across the spectrum. Male, female, transgender. We're not ready to have that conversation, and we need to understand as a community all Black Lives Matter. I'm reminded of being 6 years old in 2001 and having to have a curfew at that age. Not being allowed to be outside and play with my friends. See, I'm from the Kennedy Heights area, and so, you know, shout out to Kennedy Heights. I'm reminded of not being able to play with my friends because I didn't understand what was going on downtown. And almost 20 years later, we're in the same boat. We're in the same situation. And who would have thought that in just 6 months, I would have experienced a pandemic, and then just a few months later, a racial pandemic? Who would have thought that? And so I'm the kind of individual that likes true change. So if you like true change, I'm here to announce that these organizers, black men in suits, have a few demands for this government, for this local government, for this state government, and for the government of the United States of America. These demands represent years of mistrust and misuse by our local and state law enforcement officers with use of African American and black communities. As men in suits, we stand here today challenging our local and state officials to address our concerns for black and brown communities across the greater Cincinnati area. This is not just a Cincinnati problem. This is an Ohio problem, and largely this is an American problem. Our communities deserve better, and we demand local and state officials to work together to ensure that all black and African American communities are treated with dignity and respect as it pertains to interactions with police officers, state and local officials. As law-abiding, tax-paying citizens, we demand equity and justice for our communities. And so these gentlemen, these organizers, they made a list of 11 demands, but I'm not going to hold you long. I'm just going to read 3 of them. One is the connection with white supremacy groups. Identify and terminate all law enforcement officials that have direct ties to a white nationalist, white supremacy, or domestic terrorist groups. One is the hiring process. Require that police departments' hiring process includes bias screenings, using various methods of sources, and requiring hiring committees to specify its composition. And another one, see, a lot of times we focus on being arrested. We don't talk about what goes on after the hearings. We don't talk about what happens in the other building across the street. Prison. Creation of an independent group to examine the correlation between public school practices that lead to the prison pipeline. Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I see a lot of young folks down here that were just like me in 2001. This doesn't stop now. It didn't begin now. I'm reminded of my grandmother who's from Macon, Georgia, who grew up in the civil rights movement. And she's proud of the work that we're doing. She's proud of the work that people who are my age are doing. Shout out to all the young people who are out here making change. So we're going to leave today not with an easy and settled heart, but we're going to leave today fired up and ready to fight for change. Thank you.
I'm tired. But not just tired, but I'm sick and tired of turning on the news and seeing that another one of our brothers and sisters have died at the hands of the boys in blue. I'm sick and tired of racist whites taking away our God-given rights to just walk home with our Skittles and tea, and now somehow I'm intimidating when you can't find a gun on me. I'm sick and tired of being viewed as uneducated and intimidating just because my skin is melanated. I'm deserving of my rights, but racist whites still think they own me. I'm sick and tired of being in bondage even though I'm supposed to be free, but my blackness is inferior to those who only look skin deep. I'm looking for accountability for police brutality and racial injustice, because it should not be just us that died at the hands of those who hide behind those white sheets and claim to want to patrol our streets or run our country. When one dies, we all die. We all take on the grief because we are in disbelief that you didn't hear us. You fear us, but you won't take the time to get to know us. You label us, and now it's just us against the world because our justice wasn't made to protect us. How
How many more of our black and brown loved ones have to die because you won't let us breathe? If my black skin makes you mad, then no, I make no apology. I'm only sorry that you upset at my genealogy. But I bet if you look, enough of my black blood has crossed into your white path. Just do the math. It's only been 400 plus years since we were enslaved, and we would have thought by now, after emancipation from your plantations, we should not still be fighting for freedom. Why are we still being beaten, chained, hung from a tree, and why is your knee in my neck? For 400 plus years, all we wanted is respect. I said over and over again, I'm sick and tired. Now I'm upset. I can't lose another brother or sister, all because racism won't die. But George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Sandra Bland, Trayvon Martin, Eric Gardner, Mike Brown, Tamir Rice, Jordan Davis, Alton Sterling, Christian Cooper, Philando Castile, Amadou Diallo, Walter Scott, Oscar Grant, Ayanna Jones, Marquise Jones, Sam Du Bois, and the list goes on. Black lives lost because racism still lives on. So for them, I'm sick and tired.
I'm Bishop Victor Cousins, and regardless of what you heard, I'm the pastor of the Inspirational Bible Church in Forest Park, Ohio. I want you to do me a favor and take a 20-second moment of silence. Why 20 seconds? George Floyd lost his life because he supposedly tried to use a counterfeit $20 bill. That $20 bill was supposed to have the face of Harriet Tubman on it. When number 45 took office by executive order, with the stroke of a pen, he decided that Harriet Tubman was not worthy enough for her face to brace the $20 bill. These things are not incidental. Black people have just finished